the devastating attack by white mobs on the affluent black community of Greenwood. In the early 1900s, Tulsa, Oklahoma, was booming because of oil. On the city's north side was Greenwood, one of the wealthiest black communities in the United States at the time. Greenwood had successful black-owned businesses, doctors, lawyers, barbers, teachers, restaurants, theaters, hotels, a newspaper, and a strong middle class. Some families who were wealthy landowners because of its economic strength and independence. Despite segregation and discrimination, Greenwood represented black success, pride, and self-determination. But this success also stirred resentment among many white residents. The elevator incident of May 30th, 1921. The entire tragedy began with an encounter between Dick Rowland, a 19-year-old black shoe shiner, Sarah Page, a 17-year-old white elevator operator. They were alone in an elevator in the Drexel building. What happened inside was never fully confirmed. The leading historical theories include: he may have tripped and accidentally grabbed her arm. They may have known each other and had a personal dispute. She may have been startled and screamed. Sarah Page herself later refused to press charges. But on that day, a white clerk heard her scream, and Rowland ran. The clerk assumed it was an assault. The next morning, the local newspaper printed an inflammatory story claiming that Rowland assaulted Page without evidence. This fueled white anger. Rowland was arrested for his own protection. Officials knew lynching was a danger. Then rumors spread across Tulsa that a mob of white residents wanted to lynch him. Hundreds gathered outside the courthouse. Greenwood residents had seen black men lynched before. Many were war veterans who had fought in World War I. They refused to let another young man be killed. Dozens of armed black men marched to the courthouse to protect Rowland. White men reacted with hostility. More and more came armed. At this point, Tulsa was a powder keg. Around 10 p.m. on May 31st, a white man tried to disarm a black veteran. A struggle took place. A gun went off. No one knows who fired the first shot. Chaos followed instantly. Gunfire erupted around the courthouse. The black defenders retreated back toward Greenwood. White mobs began chasing any black person they saw. Some groups looted gun stores. Violence spread rapidly. The Tulsa police deputized and armed white civilians, essentially giving the mob authority. Some even handed out guns. This was the beginning of the massacre. June 1st, 1921, the invasion of Greenwood. Early in the morning, thousands of armed white men began attacking Greenwood. Airplanes were used. Witnesses saw private planes, dropping incendiary devices, firing guns from the air, giving scouts directions on where to attack. This is one of the few instances in U.S. history where civilians used aircraft to attack an American community. Homes and businesses were set on fire. Block after block of Greenwood burned. Churches, schools, libraries, medical clinics, stores, all destroyed. Black residents were shot, and some were forced to flee. Many fled to the countryside. Others tried hiding. Thousands were rounded up at gunpoint and taken to detention centers. Law enforcement allowed, and in some cases joined the violence. The white mob faced almost no opposition. Greenwood, a thriving black community, was reduced to ash in less than 24 hours. Death toll and destruction. Exact numbers will never be known because records were destroyed or hidden. Historians estimate 100 to 300 plus black residents killed, thousands left homeless, 35 plus square blocks destroyed, more than 1,200 homes burned, hundreds of black-owned businesses wiped out. It was one of the most destructive acts of racial violence in American history. Aftermath: no justice, no compensation. After the massacre, none of the white rioters were charged. No one apologized. Insurance companies refused to pay black homeowners for damages. Police and city officials blamed black residents for causing the violence. Dick Rowland, whose arrest sparked the event, was quietly released. Sarah Page declined to press charges. Greenwood residents, despite having lost everything, rebuilt as best as they could, largely on their own, without government support. The silence and cover-up. For decades, the Tulsa Race Massacre was deliberately hidden from history. Schools didn't teach it. Newspapers avoided mentioning it. Survivors were afraid to speak publicly. Most Americans never heard of it until the 2000s. It was a trauma that lived mostly in whispered memories. The survivors and their strength. Those who lived through it told stories of mothers clutching their children while running through burning streets, neighbors risking their lives to protect each other, the shock of seeing planes overhead dropping fire, the pain of watching a proud community destroyed. Yet the people of Greenwood rebuilt their lives with astounding resilience. By the 1940s, the district once again had thriving businesses, a testament to the strength of its residents. The modern legacy. In recent decades, the massacre has been officially recognized. Memorials and museums have been built. Mass graves have been investigated. Survivors and descendants have pushed for reparations. The Tulsa Race Massacre is no longer hidden history. What the Tulsa Race Massacre really was. It was not simply a riot. It was not mutual violence. It was not a spontaneous event, a targeted destruction of a successful Black community, a deep wound created by racial hatred, fear, and resentment, a tragedy that erased generational wealth, opportunity, and security. A moment when the systems meant to protect people actively failed them. And yet, it is also a story of resilience, survival, and a community that refused to be erased. The oldest living survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre, Viola Ford Fletcher, passed away few days ago at the age of 111. She was only 7 years old when she witnessed the tragic events of the massacre. If you are not following this page, you may never see us again. But if you are, congratulations. You are learning something new every day.